Hi everyone, welcome to episode 5 of Photography Chats. We're just waiting for Tony to get in here, and once Tony gets in here, then we'll get the chat going. Hope you all are having a good week so far. Yeah, so we'll see when Tony gets here. I know it's pretty late his time in Brittany, but yeah, thanks for joining me. There he is. There's the guy. Let's get Tony in here. Hey, Tony.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad, man. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah, so it's great to have you.
Likewise, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So these are like really sort of impromptu and not really like scripted or anything. So it's just like chatting about like what you like doing as a practice, what kind of stuff like gets you going about like photography or creating. And then whatever pops up in the chat is people join in and out and, ask questions. Hello,
Perfect, sounds
David.
good. That's how I roll. I was literally just watching a couple of like photography videos and stuff as well. That just because I tend to watch a lot of stuff like that on YouTube, just like people shooting and trying out films and whatnot. And I've been telling myself I'm trying to do a little bit less of that and just actually just do more shooting myself.
Yeah, there's what is it? The like think less, shoot more kind of thing. What's up,
Yeah.
not for sale? What's up, Ben? We had some other
hmm
joining us here. What kind of videos were you watching before hopping on here?
There was a video by is it Jason from Grainy Days? He did like
Oh,
a video where he did yeah.
okay. So I gotta say, I got a little bit of a crush on the Grainy Days dude because I like his specific brand of like
Mhm.
self-deprecation and like douchebaggery.
Yeah.
It's touching.
hmm
I can relate to that. It's just like I like this guy. He's my kind of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sent him a D here. I'll read it to you. I sent him a DM because I would love to have him on the show here. I gotta find.
hmm
What's up, Barb? Barb's gonna be on the show week after next. It's David is gonna be on after you, and then my homie Barb from Saskatchewan is going to
hmm
join me, another fellow Canadian. But
Cool.
which Grainy Days one were you watching?
It's the very latest upload. It was one where he pushed Sinister 50D to for 400 ISO, like 3 stops.
Oh shit. Okay. That's
And it's interesting because most people are kind of doing videos and posting shots from like Sinister 800T. And not a lot of people are doing content about 50D. I'm really interested in 50D, kind of slower speed films in general anyway.
so
So it was kind of curious to see what he did with the push.
I'm a big fan of the 50D and I just shoot it native. I just shoot it at 50 in lots of light. I've also shot it with strobes and it's worked good with the strobes. I
Oh,
really like the 50D. It's a really nice film. I've never tried pushing it though. Yeah, I sent him a message. Hi Jason, not sure if you read your DMs, but I figured why not take a shot? I love your videos. In a sea of people making the same film photography videos, yours stand out. I started doing this weekly Instagram live thing I call Photography Chat. It's a super creative name, I know. I spent seconds thinking about it. So far, I've been having photo pals. I know on the live, but I've got this dude from France that reached out and he wanted to be in it. And I was like, damn, maybe this thing has legs. So I wanted to hit you up to see if you'd be into doing an episode. You can check him out on my IGTV. Let me know. If you say yes, I'll probably scream like Jonah Hill and accept it.
that sounds like the kind of message that he'd actually accept. So
Right? Yeah,
yeah.
I figured it's like fanboy out, but make it funny.
hmm
Oh, JP said he just shot some 50D yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. What's up, Jana? Yeah, dude, if you've not played with it, I would highly recommend the 50D.
hmm
It's
I
beautiful.
actually shot because I'm doing like a sort of like an ongoing like a long term portrait series,
Hmm.
and one of my subjects I shot on 50D. Actually, maybe I got it here on my profile somewhere, but I'm sure.
Yeah, Paul, it'd be great to get Jason on here, but today we have Tony on here. So if you have, oh, that's beautiful, man.
That's on 50D.
Nice.
And I just really like the kind of quality of it as well. And that was kind of like end of the day, kind of like not a lot of light as well. So I was actually not sure it was going to come out very, very sharp, but it was perfect.
It came out so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dreamy film. Like, I mean, all of those cinematic stocks have such a beautiful look to them. Like, we've talked a ton about on like other episodes how much I love like Double X, like for black
Mm-hmm.
and white. That one is such like a is
Mm-hmm.
so good for that. But the 50D is pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but
I'm a filmmaker originally. Like, that's like my main profession, if you like. And so, kind of working with sort of cinematic film stocks is kind of something I kind of really did mainly for like test shoots and stuff when I was kind of prepping on films and whatnot.
yeah,
And
why don't you take a second and just like tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
oh yeah, oh well, so I'm a British-Nigerian filmmaker and photographer, and I kind of traveled a lot, kind of growing up as a kid. So I spent a lot of time in the U.S., in Nigeria, in the U.K., now in France. Kind of travel a lot for work and various things like that. I make primarily feature films, narrative feature films, and like short films, music videos, that sort of thing. But I've been shooting for ages. I was that kid, kind of like at the parties with my folks, and kind of like just like taking pictures of everyone and everything and stuff like that. And
Oh yeah.
I started shooting back in the time when it was just film. So for me, it's kind of like the resurgence is kind of nice. But then at the time, I was kind of shooting very much in a very disposable fashion,
Mm.
where kind of like the way people shoot with an iPhone right now. I didn't really think too much about settings or what I was gonna get out of the photo, or like looks or aesthetic, all that kind of stuff. It was literally just like, oh, we're going out somewhere. I don't want to shoot stuff with my friends, or we're on vacation. I'm gonna take some photos, and that sort of thing. So I
Yeah.
got like a whole bunch of negatives that I kind of just shot with like no particular points or reason in mind. That's not like I'm a photographer. It's just like I'm just documenting stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and then I kind of slowly kind of got back into actually kind of like the more deliberate photography, like maybe 10 years ago or so, maybe a little bit more than that, I'm not sure, when I started shooting film again, and then just kind of just documenting a lot more, doing like documentary photographs, doing portraits, that sort of thing, alongside my film work, and then doing sort of like photo journals as well, behind the scenes of my various films I've worked on and that sort of thing.
So you said you got back into film photography, like, what got you back into it?
Oddly enough, it was lomography,
Okay.
because I'd never. I guess it was a point where I was shooting quite a bit of digital, I guess. So that's when digital kind of became like the resurgent thing, and everyone's shooting digital, loads of sort of small point and shoots. Um, and I kind of came across a Diana camera. This was like in the really early days of lomography.
Yeah.
And I just really loved the look of the images. And I was like, wow, like you can still shoot stuff like this, like on film and stuff. And so I kind of got the camera, and I shot a bunch with it, but not actually that much, like maybe like 4 or 5 rolls a year, something like that. Like really not a lot at all. But what I did shoot with it, I really enjoyed, and so I was like, wow, I think I really need to do this a lot more. But then at the time, I wasn't like developing any. I mean, well, I'd done photography courses when I was in college. Well, actually, in high school. And so I'd done darkroom stuff and studio work, all that kind of stuff. Like I hadn't done any of that for like years.
Okay.
So I was still kind of just like sending off my film for development and not really thinking too much about it. So I was kind of getting really crappy scans. And, but for me, I was kind of interested mainly in the images anyway. I mean, even now, I'm not really a pixel peeper, and like I don't really care if the image is like super sharp or like has dust on it or whatever it is. Like I kind of like those kind of organic elements as well.
Shouldn't
So
like they'll like get all intense about like a summicron and like all of the like
exactly, like I really, I couldn't even tell you, kind of like, oh, well, this lens is better than that lens. I'm like, well, it shoots the same. They're both 50 millimeters. Like, I don't know. So lomography kind of like really appealed to me in that sense of like just kind of just go out and shoot, don't think about it, kind of like appreciate the sort of like happy accidents and experimentation and that sort of thing. And
Okay.
eventually that kind of got me slowly back into it, and I got a kind of AE1 program, and then kind of like slowly kind of started moving back into a kind of space where I was shooting a lot more frequently and a lot more deliberately and stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I guess film as an aesthetic, as a look, I prefer as well. Anyway, for to digital, not just for stills, but for films as well, for cinema. So it's something I try and do as often as I can, really.
That's very cool. I appreciate you sharing your story there.
Hmm.
So I'm guessing you're not shooting with just a Diana anymore.
I am not. I've kind of gotten into the, well, I guess my gas has kind of slowed down a lot now because I've kind of achieved the various levels I wanted to get to.
Okay.
So I guess my first big sort of like splurge purchase was for the Leica M6.
Wow. Okay.
And I got that, and I got it at a time. This was kind of before the hype kind of really started building up for film photography and people kind of getting back into it and stuff. So I got it for like a really good price. I mean, like in like three figures kind of price. I can't remember how much I paid for it, but like I was like really like I had to get it.
Yeah, man.
And so I got it. And I'm also kind of very much like a one camera, one lens kind of shooter. So I'm not a big on sort of like compiling on lenses and stuff for gear and all that kind of stuff. I just kind of
Yeah.
get like a whole system. So I've got like a bunch of lomography cameras, then the M6, and then I kind of started slowly moving into sort of like this idea of having like a specific camera for a specific function
Mm.
and one camera for each kind of format. So I kind of wanted like a really small point and shoot. I mean, I'm really big into design as well. So I got like a Minox 35 GT, which is super compact, really super compact 35 mil, like sort of point and shoot, I guess. Oh, oh my God. Amazing.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
great
I
guy.
love that camera.
This will probably be a giveaway when I reach 2,000 followers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, whenever that happens.
Some lucky so and so is going to get that and be very happy with it.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully they make beautiful pictures with it, and it does
Mm-hmm.
end up sitting somewhere.
But yeah. And so I got that, and then I started getting into medium format as well. So I got like an RB again before kind of all the hype started again. So I was lucky in terms of pricing, and like I was kind of a little bit annoyed when everyone started getting like the RZ, RB, and I was like, oh my God, now it's everybody gonna think I'm like falling in some kind of bandwagon or something. I was like, oh, whatever.
Jana just gave a ton of hearts for that, so I think you've hit a soft spot for
Uh,
her on
mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah. And yeah, and then now I've kind of like reached sort of like my final form of like large formats where I've got like a crown graphic for 4x5, and I'm currently building my own 8x10 camera.
Oh, beautiful, man. That's so I've not made the leap to 8x10 yet, but I've got
Mm-hmm.
a couple of 4x5s that I love. Like I've got a super graphic that's pretty cool. The
Mm-hmm.
rangefinder works well in it, so it's kind of like it's a run and gun kind of 4x5, which is
Mm-hmm.
weird for saying like run and gun 4x5. Um, and then I've got a Wista 4x5 that I absolutely love. Like that
Oh,
thing
nice.
I've taken all over North America with me, and I've done a whole ton of like Polaroid portraits with it for friends and stuff, and I
Mm-hmm.
really love that camera. Um, but yeah, I've got
Yeah,
a
because you're a big Polaroid guy, right?
huge Polaroid guy. I love the instant films, and the
Mm-hmm.
instant film community has given back so much to me. It's if it wasn't for the instant film community, I wouldn't be doing things like this because I wouldn't have met a lot of the photographers I've met. So it's yeah, Polaroid's been really important and special to me in that regard. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like the photography community in general has just been pretty mind-blowing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And it's cool too because like I mean, you know, now it's like it's gone to a global experience for me because like you reached out over the internet to hit me up to be like, yo, I'm like interested in this thing, and I'm like, holy shit, you're in France. Like, like so far
Yeah.
all the photo pals have been in like North America. So oh
Mm-hmm.
Jana has a question on thoughts on the Lomo Instax wide for 4x5 that was just announced. What do you think about that?
Oh, I was very well. I still am very tempted by it. I mean, because I'm a big fan of Instax in general, especially the wide. Just because I think quality-wise, the images are kind of like sort of best that Instax has to offer. The square is not bad, but I think the wide kind of for me is like a form factor. It's kind of like it's unique while also offering a very particular aesthetic. So being able to shoot it on like bigger cameras, even if it's just doing like in an RV or large format, I think really offers a lot of possibilities. Because most Instax cameras, especially for the wide format, are not very good. And I find that's like the main drawback for Instax is that the automated features kind of like don't really help the format as much as it could do. Not like with an SR680, for instance, where you have sort of some more manual control. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited by the idea of kind of having something very simple to be able to shoot sort of Instax in 4x5 with, because the hack is useful, but it's such a pain to go through like loading the sheets and the holders and putting it back into the camera and stuff. And I mean, I tried it like a couple of times, just like testing it and stuff, and I was like, I really like that I can get really nice results from this, but I don't know that I want to kind of go through that workflow each time, and it's like kind
Yeah,
of super slow.
the Instax wide hack is annoying. Like, you know, Cinedar was the first one to show me that, Dave,
Mm-hmm.
and he took a couple of beautiful Instax wide portraits of me the last time we were in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like as far as like a film goes, the Instax wide is such a beautiful film. It just
Yeah.
makes me sad that all of Fuji's cameras are shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's other than the really expensive Mint camera and like the
Yeah,
mod,
the instant con. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's no good cameras for that film, which has always kind of bummed me out because I'm like, it's a beautiful stock that deserves a better camera. So I'm
Exactly.
kind of I like this idea of the back, so I'm curious to see feedback from people that get it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Barb, to your question, yeah, it is. It's a 4x5 back.
Oh, look who
For
just joined. Cinedar just joined.
what's up, Dave? We were speaking of the devil. We were just talking about you shooting Instax wide with the hack that you were showing everyone. But yeah, Barb, it's a Graphlok 4x5 back for Instax. So it was just something that Lomography announced, and it looks like wicked dope. So that would actually be sweet for my super graphic because then I could like really run and gun and shoot Instax wides with it. And
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like, I think I mean, the super graphic is sort of similar to like I guess like the Camerodactyl, not the OG, but is it the OG, the 4x5 one that from Camerodactyl?
here, let me grab it because yeah. So this is the guy here. It's just like the newer
Oh,
version
wow,
of
okay.
the Crown.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got like a decent like the rangefinder on this one actually like works really well, and
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of portable-ish, and
Mm-hmm.
it does have like the Graphlok back on it, so
Yeah,
I think I could just like get one of those 4x5 backs and just like turn this into like my Instax wide.
like a super overkill like Instax.
Yeah, and then I just got to get like one of those Mets flashes for the side of it, and then
Mm-hmm.
you know that would actually be a fucking hilarious getup,
Yeah.
honestly. Like have the big like Ouija style, or that the guy in New York. What's the name of the dude in New York that does the portraits all the time? Like he's like the super famous dude that has been doing like the 4x5, like the pack film portraits for like generations.
Oh,
I can't remember his name now, but yeah, he's got like a crazy funky setup, so
yeah.
he can shoot those.
Is it Nick Collingwood? No, not Nick Collingwood.
No, I can't remember.
I know. It's uh, old black guy, right?
Yeah, I think it's Jaff Photos or something like that. I think that's the one, Jana. You're right.
Yeah, there's Jack Photos, but there's the other guy as well. What's his name? What's his name? He's got like the hat and stuff.
Yeah,
Always
yeah,
wearing the
that's the
suit.
guy. He wears the hat and he looks like super
Yeah.
old school, and he's been like doing it
Hmm.
forever. Yeah, like since Christ was a cowboy, he's been like
Yeah.
doing it. Yeah, like it'd be cool to like set it up for something like that. Um,
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
because they're still shooting Peel Apart. They're shooting like FP 100C and
Yeah, Luis
500
Luis
mil.
Mendez. That's the guy, Luis Mendez.
There we
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
yeah. All right, group effort. We figured it out. Yeah, the dude
It's
is.
really weird because like every so often there'll be like an Instagram account that pops up and it's like it's Louis Mendez, like it's following him, like really? And like
Yeah, and you're like, yo, I don't think that guy actually.
I don't think that's him.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ready for Instagram. I don't think Instagram is ready for him.
No, I don't. He would probably break the grams.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be like King Kong ain't ready for this shit kind of thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he'd like Denzel the shit out of Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that shit. Um,
Well, I don't know. I mean, because for the Instax, I mean, for the back, I mean, as tempted as I am, if I kind of had like a bunch of disposable income that I could sort of like throw at it, then I wouldn't mind, especially since it's coming like next year. But at the moment, I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, I want to kind of shoot formats the way they're meant to be shot. So I guess like with 4x5, especially since I'm just getting into it, I kind of figured like I might as well just shoot sheet film or paper negatives instead of kind of going through this whole idea of like shooting Instax on it, which is not exactly the exact sort of frame, etc., all that kind of thing.
yeah.
Plus, also, I'm shooting a lot more with my Polaroid SLR 680. So I kind of just figured just try and make the most out of the cameras and see how much I can get out of it. And if I ever kind of want to dabble, then maybe I might consider it, or I just use a hack for a couple of shots kind of thing. So that way I don't kind of feel like I'm stuck with like a thing I never end up using.
That's fair. Because like that's sort of where I'm at with a bunch of stuff. Because I just have so much gear now
Mm-hmm.
that I can't fire it all the time. So it's just like I'm looking at some stuff being like, okay, there's a bunch of shit that I should just probably get rid of and drop like two hot rocks.
Yeah.
But then there's like a bunch of stuff that I have like extras. Like I've got like 660s right now for doing like
Oh wow.
workshops.
Mm-hmm.
That and I ended up just buying them recently because of COVID. Because I was gonna do this instant photography workshop with a
Mm-hmm.
gallery here, but the original idea was we would have like 10 to 12 people, and I would just have a bunch of different cameras, like Instax Mini, Instax Square, Instax Wide, a bunch of different Polaroids, and everyone would try one camera like a couple of times over. And so
Mm-hmm.
that we would just cycle around the cameras, and everyone would get to try each kind of format. But now COVID, that's not really as palatable of an idea because, like, we don't really want people sharing things like that.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, everyone just gets Polaroids now. And Polaroid might loan me a couple of cameras, but I was like, instead of waiting on them to find out for sure, I've just got a bunch of Sun 660s because those work really well, and a
Yeah.
bunch came up cheap online. But then, yeah, there's like a ton of 35 mil stuff that I should just get rid of, and like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really downsizing as well because like, I had like a SX70 for a while, and as much as I love that camera, I had like with the original leather case and everything, I was like, I don't use it as much as I use my SLR 680, so I kind of figured, why would I have two Polaroid cameras? I've still got sort of like a big sort of like box camera as well, and I was like, I don't know, but yeah, so I kind of have like just like that one camera, I've got like one half frame camera that I got specifically to shoot sort of like my daughter growing up.
Oh, cool.
And then I got the 4x5, so the Crown Graphic, primarily for 4x5 stuff. And then I've got like one TLR, then 167. And I kind of figured like that's about enough for me. There's loads of cameras that I would love to shoot, or that I kind of like really love the design and the aesthetic of it and stuff,
Yeah.
but that I kind of can't justify getting because I don't really need them for anything. And it kind of doesn't really fill a hole that I'm kind of lacking at the moment. So
Well, you needs it because you wants it.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of like in a bit of the similar camp with that. Like, but the SX70, I actually shoot my SX70 a lot more than I do the SLR 680.
Hmm.
I've been liking the color I'm getting out of SX70 film more than I've been liking 600 film.
Okay.
And also using it with strobe, like studio strobes, has been really
Mm.
that like I was as soon as I started fucking around with that, being able to hook it up to my wireless triggers and use it with the studio lighting, I was like, okay,
Mm.
yeah, this thing's the shit. I like this camera a lot. Um, Whereas I can't do that with the 680 because it's got
True.
the built-in flash.
Mhm.
So that's given like my SX70 a new lease on life. And I've got actually a bunch that I'm mailing down to Zane in Texas that
Mm.
he's actually going to do a really cool thing for me. So I've got a second silver SX70 that's janky, but the bottom
Ooh.
bellows are good. And
Mhm.
and I've got another SLR 680 that the bellows are bad in. So he's going to take the two of them and make me a silver
Mm.
SLR 680.
Ooh,
Right?
nice.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I'm super jazzed on that because like that's gonna be a rare boy. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. And then he's gonna tune up one of the other SX70s to shoot 600 so I can use that in the studio
Mm.
with doing ND filters.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you done any sort of like projects on Polaroid, or you mainly just kind of shoot it to shoot it?
um, so I've done a couple of like creative shoots with pals on Polaroid that have turned out really good. Um, I did a quarantine project that I don't know what I'm gonna do with, but like for the first like 50 some days of quarantine, I was taking one or two Polaroids a day.
Oh.
Um, and then because at first they were like, it's only gonna be like 2 weeks. And like I could fuck with 2 weeks of Polaroids. Like that's not
Mhm.
bad. And then it started getting hard to find film because of quarantine. So it's just like
Oh.
I sort of like broke-ish quarantine a little bit to like go out and buy more film.
Yeah.
Um, but that was like not terrible experience because Best Buy was like wicked awesome about that, where you can order online and then just do curbside pickup. So it's like I didn't
Oh,
have to
cool.
interact with anyone really.
Mhm.
But then when we were rolling into like day 50, I was like, fuck, this project's getting like hella expensive and quarantine not like ending anytime soon. And I'm like, now it's just getting like fucking boring. Like it's just like me in my house. And so
Mhm.
I have all these photos that I don't really know what the fuck I'm gonna do with them, honestly. It's
Mhm.
like it was a sanity project.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, that's like a lot of my photography, honestly. Like I've got tens of thousands of photos that I've shot on film in the last
Mhm.
3.5 years that there's a high likelihood no one's ever gonna see any of those photos ever. Like
Mhm.
it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of that idea of well, that kind of like trap of like shooting stuff and then kind of just like hoarding it.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best to either put it together into like a book or a zine, or just kind of put it out there somehow, or do prints, or that kind of thing. So shooting with a bit more purpose, I guess, especially with Polaroids, because I mean, other than sort of just like sort of general documentation and stuff,
Yeah.
I've actually done, I guess, like two major projects on Polaroid.
Oh, nice.
Like there was one I did, which was like a sort of a Japan Polaroid photo book, and then I was doing like a series about the Cannes Film Festival because I was going like more or less every year at one point, and then I kind of thought, oh yeah, I'll just kind of like document my time there and stuff, and just kind of like shoot a bunch of photos, and then it kind of got to a point where I was like, oh, like if I don't go to Cannes, do I now feel guilty for like not shooting stuff, or do I just force myself to go just to shoot stuff? And so that kind of like ended up hitting a bit of a roadblock.
Yeah,
But then the Japan book, I managed to actually put together into like a proper book and put out and stuff, which I was very happy with. And actually, I can show you the original Polaroids.
for sure. And my homie Julianne just said zines are always the answer, which, she's got a soft spot for zines because that's sort of her thing. If y'all want some like funky artwork and zines and stuff like that, check out Foot to Face. You should give her a follow. She makes
Oh,
really good
nice.
stuff. Yeah, and she's
Foot to face. All right, I shall keep that
yeah,
in mind.
she made this shirt, which is one of my favorite shirts. I love this shirt a lot.
Oh, that's so cool. Is that like a guillotine?
Yeah, it's a guillotine. Yeah,
Nice. I
she's
love it. It's very graphic.
yeah, she made the graphic and screen printed it herself. She's extremely talented, so you should give her a follow and buy her artwork because support artists.
I will do. So
Probably ships internationally too. So
these are like my original Polaroids from the book, which I
cool.
kind of scanned them and then put like laid them out slightly differently. You can sort of see this was like the early days of like Impossible, so you can sort of tell some of them are not exactly the best.
But
But I kind of like,
I like how imperfect it was though.
yeah, yeah, me too. They got some stuff like that.
And Julian said international shipping is no problem. So American friends and global friends, if you want to buy her work, hit her up.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I do get a little grumpy with like the fanboys and stuff like that like to shit all over Polaroid and everything about it like not being perfect, and it's like it never was perfect though. Like that,
Exactly. That's kind of the point, right? I mean, if
yeah,
you want perfect images, go shoot digital.
yeah. If you want, yeah, go shoot digital, go shoot film, go shoot whatever. Like, I mean, the old formulas of past that everyone loves and that worked so good are long gone. They'll never be back again. Like they're gone.
Mhm.
It's just like I don't know. I think about it as like a privilege to still be able to take this object that's like, 30 some years old
Mhm.
and still use it today and make it a functional object. And if that
Yeah.
costs me $30 every time I want to do that, that's a privilege to be able to do that. And
Mhm.
so like I'm stoked that that's an option if I want to make this thing breathe life again. So
Absolutely. Well, I think for me also there's the magic of Polaroid that still exists that has been exactly the same from the moment like they created the camera system and everything and the film format. And today, go up to anyone, regardless of who it is, and take a shot and watch them watch it kind of develop in front of their eyes. And it's always like, whoa! It's always like that kind of like.
yeah, there's still such a magic about it. Like it's such a beautiful thing and like being like giving someone a tangible thing is such a cool thing. And like the different film stuffs too, like I just started playing with duochrome. I don't know if I have. Yeah. So this was my first shot of duochrome and I just love like how it came out just like the way that the film breathes light is really really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's just yeah, there's nothing else like it. Like it's just such a cool format. And then even when shit fucks up, like I bought a bunch of film
Mm-hmm.
that had
Oh,
bad
bad pods.
hacks, so I'd use it to make like emo boy art.
Nice.
Because you can still use that shit. And then like this was cool. So I bought a mini passport recently.
Mm-hmm.
And it had some like janky FP100 that like who fucking knows how old it was in it. But the mini passport is cool because it's a two lens one. So I was like, oh, I could
Mm-hmm.
do like instant diptychs with it. And so like this was one of the shots I took with the
Oh,
old
that's
fired
great.
film.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on my feed, but it has like spots on it that almost looks like it's like speckled and diseased. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
is really cool. So it's yeah, like it's just such a magical it's a magical medium, and like the whole instant film and Polaroid and all of that. Like it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's dope that you ordered some packs of it, Janet. You're gonna love them, and it is Magic Julian, definitely. And JP, it is a good way to look at it. And we've got Armand of the Denton Camera Exchange joining us
Oh,
now.
hello.
Yeah.
I think I saw Frank Thorpe join. I'm not sure if he disappeared again, but
Oh, let's see if
if he's still in there, love your work, Frank.
yeah, Frank is still in there. Thank you for joining us, Frank. Yeah. If anyone in the chat or like in attendance, if y'all have any questions or like, want to hit Tony up about anything, feel free to like punch stuff in the chat. This is an open forum for you guys. We'll
Yes,
we'll
please.
we'll riff things out until y'all have a question about anything, but don't be shy. Um so do you like what projects do you have going on right now? Film wise?
Right now, I'm kind of like developing a bunch of screenplays. Like there's some series stuff I'm working on um, in development. Well, one for Netflix, one for HBO. See how those go. I'm kind of like working on the sort of release of like my last feature film, which I shot a couple of years ago now, and I was going to do sort of like a sort of cinematic, like a theatrical roadshow for the movie. But obviously COVID. So I'm kind of trying to figure out alternative release strategies for that now. And I'm editing a couple other things as well. Photography wise, I'm kind of trying to, I guess, I've got this like huge to-do list of like ideas, right, that I want to shoot.
Yeah.
But obviously now I have like a 4-month-old, so that kind of makes things a little bit harder to kind of get around like until a certain point, plus COVID. And I was working on kind of like putting together a zine, which I started already actually, which is like a collaborative zine. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to work around that, because the idea for that is that I kind of send a roll of black and white film to a photographer who's kind of like either reached out or kind of like, because I put an open call out like last year, I think.
Okay.
And a couple of people got back to me saying they were interested in participating. And so the idea is I basically send out a roll of film and a piece of text, and the photographer has to basically shoot that roll of film in correspondence to that piece of narrative text.
Okay.
And then they send the roll back to me without seeing what they've shot. So I develop it, and the very first time that you see the images are in the zine, in the final copy of the zine, basically.
That's really cool. So it's kind of like the 400 TX project, but with like a twist.
Sort of, yeah. And well, the idea is that it's kind of working on the kind of like merging of narrative and image. So basically, I write sort of text, and so the photographer essentially kind of becomes a director of, I guess, this imaginary film, if you like. And it's how they interpret that specific piece of text. And it's also, there's limitations to how they can basically achieve the images, right? Because you only have the one roll of film, and each line of text has to correspond with a specific image. So it's not like you could just go shoot like a whole bunch of stuff, and you have to really plan it out in advance.
Okay.
And then since you don't get to see what you've done beforehand, you have no idea it's going to come together with the text, all that kind of stuff. And if you happen to mess up on your roll, then it's kind of like, too bad. How are you going to make up for it? How's it going to work with the text? And
Yeah.
there's lots of little things I kind of wanted to play with this idea of sort of a zine project that wasn't just kind of like showcasing my own stuff, was kind of like a proper collaboration in a way that gets to challenge other photographers to basically do something different to what they're normally used to doing.
That's really cool. You have a volunteer in the group, Barb from Saskatchewan, my homie there. She said, "Pick me."
Oh, cool. Yeah. I'm taking everyone.
All right, I'll get you two in touch, and y'all can chat about it.
Yeah, for sure. And so, like, I did one with a guy called Brett Wood from Australia called Liminal Tart on Instagram, and his came out really good. I haven't got a copy somewhere? It's in the other room somewhere. But his came out really well, And then I had a couple other people lined up, including Brandy and Laura from Film Photo Geeks, who are going to do like a joint like challenge thing. But then when COVID hit, I kind of figured it might not be wholly responsible to kind of send people out shooting out in the streets or wherever else they might kind of get inspiration from. So I wanted to kind of wait it out a little bit. But what I'm going to do now is that I might end up sending, instead of kind of doing it sort of like issue by issue, I will send out all the films to all the participants at once and then just kind of release them in like a staggered fashion, like one after the other kind of thing.
So you're doing this with you have a specific writer you're working with, or are you doing a different writer?
No, well, I'm writing all the narrative myself.
Oh, cool.
And then I have like one friend of mine who's interested in writing for one piece as well. So I might get them to kind of to write something. But at the moment, it's just me writing.
If you are looking for writers, I got a homie in LA that is a fantastic writer. He goes by Midnight Pudding.
Oh, cool. Oh, I love that handle.
Yeah, it's I met him like almost 20 years ago off of the internet. And he was coming to Vancouver to go to some writing festival, and we ended up like shooting I did some promo shots for him for like one of the zines he's working on, and then we've been pals ever since then. And he's a pretty cool writer. He does like a couple of like comics and like cartoons and shit, and he's always grinding to do more stuff because that's that whole like make it break it in LA kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess it's also kind of the idea of keeping the creative juices flowing as well, and kind of like doing something outside of like your scope as well, and keeping busy.
Yeah, because I imagine it's probably a little bit dog eat dog down there. Oh, and also, Julianne does tons of cool collage poems as well. That's part of her artwork. So she is a great writer and would be down.
Oh, nice. Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the more the merrier. I mean, because I really want it to be kind of like a community-based thing, because the idea is not to kind of like make zines and kind of like, make bank, so to speak. I kind of wanted to, again, I'm going to kind of cycle back to this, but I have a bit of a pet peeve with the word zine, because for me...
Oh, wait, Julianne, earmuffs.
Because when I think of zine, I kind of think of the traditional sort of like copy zine, and the idea of like the kind of like very do-it-yourself, handmade, cheap, get it out there, simple to make, not like a huge deal kind of thing. That's a zine for me, right?
Okay.
But
great. Hi, Brandy. Thanks for joining. We were just talking about you. Your ears burning.
Brandy. And so like I wanted to really do like a proper old school kind of copy zine.
Okay.
Which is obviously cheaper to produce, and also the aesthetic of it I think is a lot nicer anyway. So I didn't want it to become this sort of like big production where it's like, we're gonna make a photo book and it's gonna be this whole thing, and like, we're gonna kind of just like, self-glorify ourselves or whatever it is, that kind of thing. I just wanted to kind of make it about the art and about the artist as well. So if it's kind of more of a community-driven thing where like more people, like a whole bunch of different writers and photographers and everyone from all over the place to kind of join, that's kind of like my ideal end game. So pretty much. So basically I have like just a series of all these zines, and then like maybe at some point down the line, maybe after we've done my own like 10, 20 issues or whatever, then we might do like a compilation book that's like a proper thing, but not necessarily, again, to kind of like make money or to kind of show off or whatever it is, but more just as like a collection to kind of, I guess, thank the community and everyone for participating in it as well. So you're kind of sharing something out with other people as well.
Yeah.
And other photographers who appreciate film and, that sort of thing. So it kind of helps bring people together instead of like this idea of like everyone kind of shooting for themselves and, I don't know, trying to fight each other for work and stuff. It's all about kind of sharing the passion.
Julianne says, for the joy.
Absolutely.
Hashtag zine joy. And Janice says, I was introduced to Tony because of Brandy.
Oh, cool. Brandy's like my agent, it seems.
Brandy's awesome, and it was so nice to have her on episode 3. I love Brandy very much. You know, she's a very special person to me, as are all of my
Mm-hmm.
photography friends. Yeah, dude, that's a really cool
It,
project.
it's crazy because like there's so many people who I follow on Instagram or elsewhere, and most of that community tends to be in the States, like in New York or LA or wherever it is. And I kind of always kind of feel like, oh crap, it's like because I haven't been back to the States in a couple of years now, and I'm always like, oh man, it's like when next I get back, it's going to be like this whole big thing because there's this whole community of people I can actually go hang out with and like do stuff and take photos and photo walks and go
Well,
check out like I don't know PolaCon or whatever it
well,
is, all that
yes,
kind of
I
stuff.
was just gonna say, like, you've been shooting your SLR
Mm-hmm.
video tent, you're gonna have to come to a Policon, you know, and
Yeah.
now they kind of happen on like Central and West Coast now because it typically it's always been in Texas up until
Mm-hmm.
this year. We did Policon 4.5, which was Policon Bay Area in San Francisco, and
Mm-hmm.
that was the last trip I took before the world ended.
Yeah.
Um, but it was fantastic World Photo Meetup. Some yeah, exactly. You know, at Policon hopefully, so we could all have some delicious Tex-Mex at Armand's parents' mi casita.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I'll meet up in Denton. I love Denton.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
But then
Barbara, Unity
other
or
projects wise, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, other than that, I'm kind of like just trying to figure out. Oh yeah, no, I'm working on like a project. I have like one more role to shoot for it, but I'm shooting all of Metropolis, Lomography Metropolis film.
Hi Janet, thanks for joining us. I haven't tried the Metropolis film yet. I think that's what I've got. That's the sort of weird color stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm running literally my first roll of Metropolis in here right now. So I
Hmm.
took a photo of you earlier.
Oh, nice. On
Uh,
Metropolis?
yeah, of our live feed on the
Hmm.
Metropolis. So I'm gonna take another one here.
Kind of have some horror film lighting going on here.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah,
Needs to be like
like
that.
do you like scary movies?
These shots? I do actually. I'm a big horror buff.
The call came from inside the house. What's your favorite scary movie?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Right now, I'd say Dawn of the Dead.
Ooh, that's a good one. Like the original Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah,
Mm, that is a really good one. I do.
like that. That's one that I can go back and watch like as many times and never get tired of it.
I can't. I'm a fan of Army of Darkness.
Oh yeah, I like that as well.
Ooh, JP says Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh, that's not bad. I mean, actually, there's a lot of really interesting new horror kind of coming out like over the last couple of years. And I mean, Blumhouse are doing like lots of really amazing work right now as well. With like Get Out, obviously, and films like that. It Follows is really good. I think it's not a really good horror movie.
Brandy
Um,
says, "Y'all, I can't hang with the scary movies. I'm such a scaredy cat." Oh shit. Do you remember like what was the name of the production company? It was this like production company in the 90s that did all these like crazy horror movies, but they had one of these like Nazi puppets that like came back to life, and there was like one of them, he had like a drill head, he was like tunneler, and he would like tunnel through people and shit.
oh yeah. Oh, I can't remember the
Yeah.
company's name.
But like that whole company had like all these great horror movies for like the
Mhm.
fuck, what was the name of that thing? It was so good. Um, where is it here? It's Tunneler Nazi puppet. This is gonna screw up my Google algorithm for sure.
Incognito search. Incognito search.
Full Moon, that was it. It was the production company was Full Moon, and
Hmm.
Puppet Master, that was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Brandy, for someone that doesn't know about scary movies,
I
how do you know
know.
about Puppet Master? Come on. And Julianne's like, what the fuck? Yeah, it was funny. Like, so they were all, I guess, Nazis at one point, but then they came back to life and they did good things, and they were like they
Mhm.
redeemed themselves or something. It was a fuck. The whole series was kind of fucked up, and my parents were a little weird for letting us watch them as kids.
My dad was like proper like didn't give a fuck. Just like, oh, you guys watch whatever, because like he's super into well, like not horror, but like super into like action movies and stuff, like
Okay.
really violent action movies. So we watched like all sorts of stuff growing up, and
We
then
watched,
just like, other random stuff too.
we watched lots of action movies when I was a kid also, but I remember they warned me one time. They were like they rented Candyman and they're like, you can't watch this. And I
Mhm.
was like, screw you guys, I'm gonna watch it. And I snuck downstairs after everyone went to bed one night and I threw it in the VHS machine. And I only got as far as the part when the guy gets his like dick cut off in the bathroom.
Oh, hmm,
And that scarred me for fuck. I was scared of public washrooms for like years after that. And should have listened to my parents. I've not finished Candyman to this day. That's as far as I've ever gotten.
are you gonna go see the remake?
I don't, probably not. I mean, I'm almost 40 and I'm still scared of Candyman, so,
That's
you know.
like proper trauma right there.
That's fair. Brandy says, doesn't mean I didn't pay attention to pulp culture. I also have friends who talk nonstop about these kinds of movies. Sorry about that, Brandy. Plus, her grandmother is obsessed with all of the 90s horror fare. Your grandma's pretty rad, dude.
Hmm.
That's a dope grandma.
Your grandma's got good tastes.
Yeah.
Your
We
grandma
should,
would have been able to answer the first question in Scream correctly.
oh yeah.
The one that got Drew Barrymore killed.
Oh man, that
Spoilers for Scream. Who hasn't seen Scream?
that whole franchise was ridiculous. And then the scary movie franchise that came out of it, that was like
Yeah.
that was so ridiculous. I think the Chris Elliott's character was actually horrific as that like butler with the weird hand where he's like, "Let me get
Yeah.
it with my
Oh
straw."
god. Oh no. Even just picturing it in my head, I'm just like, oh.
Like the whole dinner scene when he's like touching all the things with the little hand, it was just like, oh.
Wow, I can really just like see it, like, oh, gives me
And
shivers.
I mean, Chris Elliott was such a hilarious actor too. Like,
Mm.
there was that that one he did where he was in the Cabin Boy. That one was like fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, and I also liked his Handsome Boy modeling skit off of Mad TV, which was
Hmm.
the inspiration for Dan the Automator and Prince Ball's Handsome Boy Modeling School.
Oh, I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, that was where they got the whole inspiration from for Handsome Boy Modeling School was from the Mad TV skit. And
Mm.
one of my favorite rap groups there. It's the you know Nathaniel Merriweather and Chest Rockwell, just visionaries.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you joining and chatting
Yeah,
with me
no problem. No.
here. I'm surprised no one's really had questions this time. But I think you really enthralled everyone with the zine idea. Like that's one of the coolest ideas I've heard in a while. Like I really dig that. And I'd be down to be part of that. Barb's down to be part of that from a photo perspective. You got Julianne that wants to write for that. I got like another homie that'd be down to write for that. Um,
Absolutely. The more the merrier.
yeah, so you got lots of people that'd be down for that for sure. But
Everyone should like message me just so I don't forget as well.
yeah, so everyone give Tony a follow when this is over, and for the people I remember, I'll also make sure to link your profiles up. Um, but we got like 5 minutes left, so if y'all have any questions for Tony, well, we've got him on the Instagram lives here, before he has to like go get some sleep to deal with his newborn baby. You know,
Mhm.
this is the time. This is time for questions, y'all. This is your time. Anything?
This is our time. down
I'm
here,
down
not a
here.
thing.
I'm gonna.
Julian Saracen.
Sloth is one of my favorite characters ever. Um,
Sloth is amazing. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the baby Ruth. He. Where do you live, Tony?
Where do I live? I currently live in France, in Brittany, in France. So I used to be, right before I moved here, I was in the UK for like 12, 13 years.
Okay.
And before that, kind of moved around a lot as well. So spent some time in the States, spent some time in Nigeria, where I mostly grew up. But we kind of traveled a lot growing up as well. I was a bit of an expat kid because my dad was in the military.
Okay.
So we kind of moved like every couple of years or so kind of thing at one point, and then kind of stayed put for a while. And then I was in the UK from like 98 till however long, and I kind of came to France like 8 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, something like that.
Ooh, this is a good question here. Julianne asks, what kind of themes do you generally like to explore with your photography?
Um, I I'm very interested in people, so I don't necessarily do landscapes, even though I kind of like shooting landscapes and architecture and stuff as well. But I always kind of like to find sort of a personal connection to photography, be it through a photograph of a stranger in sort of like a situation or a scenario that I kind of come across, or something constructed, or kind of just like finding someone in a moment of time. Um, I guess I kind of tend towards sort of more sort of classical approach to photography in that sense, and that is closer to painting for me.
Okay.
Where if I'm doing a portrait of someone, for instance, I'm not a big fan of sort of like dramatic poses and things like that or whatever. I kind of like very simple, naturalistic poses.
Mm,
Um, so for the most part, sometimes if I'm shooting people, like I don't even tell them when I'm shooting. I just kind of shoot them when I see a moment that I kind of think is interesting. And I like photographs that you can sort of look at and you can sort of create a story around it. Even if it's not necessarily the story of what was actually happening at that point in time, you can sort of like infer something or get a feeling out of it that that basically you impose um, a subject to what you're looking at.
okay.
And for me, that's kind of where you kind of get the interest, because strangers have so many different stories happening. That's why I like street photography as well, because you can really just kind of like create this whole history based on like one specific moment in time that's completely outside of what the actual moment was, so to
Okay.
speak. Yeah, so it's that idea of sort of almost fictional narratives that kind of like is applied to like an actual real documented moment. So that kind of like really appeals to me. Um, so thematically, I kind of like this idea of like constructed narratives from real life events, I guess, if I was kind of boil it down to like a single thing.
That's beautiful. I love that. I think because I go for a similar kind of thing when I'm shooting people is I don't like posing them. I don't like something that's not natural. So I sort of,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I love shooting like waist level cameras because you can get your focus lined up and then you just sort of like you wait and then you just have a conversation with them and when you see what you want, you hit the shutter and it's there. Like that's I love medium format for that.
Mm-hmm.
JP says this was a fantastic episode. I agree. It was
Oh,
great, man. I think this was
thank
like
you.
the best episode so far, hands down, in photography chats. This might be the episode that gets Grainy Days to be on. If
Sorry,
it happens,
Brandon.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to Jason, aka Baxter's dad. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I really just want him on the show to get Baxter on the show because it's all about Baxter. Um, But I wanted to say like thank you again. We got 40 seconds left here. I really appreciate you joining, and I appreciate everyone coming to spend some time with us on photography chat. I've got David Hunter next week, a fantastic Polaroid photographer out of Dallas, Texas, through Scotland, and then the week after that, it's Barb from Canada. We're going to talk about maple syrup and photography. So thank you guys. I love you all, and thank you so much, Tony. I look forward to like being part of this project and getting everyone else that was chatting on here part of it. That sounds so dope, dude.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you. Thanks for having me. And thanks everyone for participating. And yeah, let's keep growing the film community.
Definitely. I'm down for it. All right. I love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Peace.
All right. Bye.